Hey, for fuck's sake. It's Dr. Cari again. I am here today with Melissa Chanselle-Hary, and she does a lot of interesting things. She is a sex therapist. She is a Reiki master. She is a death doula. And now she is coaching people in kink. That's pretty much everything, I think.
Yeah, that covers it.
Yeah. So you're adults only?
I am adults only. I will coach parents who are working with teens when it comes to like how to talk about erotic material or pornography. And I am actually working on a presentation partnering with one of the counseling collectives here in town to put on a talk for 13 to 17-year-olds, but specifically to who I coach and who I work with, it is adults.
Okay. And what would the teenage stuff be?
So just talking about consent, what it means, how to define it, how to recognize it when it's present, when it's not, the effects of pornography or erotic material on the nervous system and why, because kids are seeing porn younger and younger these days. And so you have to actually assume that they've seen it.
Oh, yeah.
And then the way that it's remapping their connection to their body or their expectations for the future really matters. So instead of acting like it's not happening, I'd rather just talk to kids like it is happening and talk about ways to think about it differently. And then also having the conversation that's not necessarily abstinence only, but also highlighting that there's a lot of steps between meeting someone and having sex, and that there are ways to just things to normalize talking about kissing or holding hands or how to know when you're ready. And so just normalizing how to think about things or what they could potentially ask and being present with themselves as they make decisions for their body. Because not a lot of us are having these conversations with our kiddos.
Oh, I dare say
almost none.
Hardly anybody.
My son is the unfortunate. My 13-year-old who is please stop.
Right.
Is the person who we talk pretty openly and we try. He knows he can come to me, and I do believe he will when the time comes. But he's had to sit through more than one lecture that he's not super into.
Yes. I resonate with that. Yeah, my poor kid was starting the SHARE program and in Washoe County School District, and I didn't know much about it, but I had heard rumors that it was lackluster.
Yeah.
At best.
Kind of abstinence only.
And just
some anatomy, not even all, or not very detailed on the anatomy.
Not detailed, not thorough, not sex positive, not open-minded. Yeah. Nothing. And it was his first one. And so he's in third or fourth grade or something, something like that. And so I was kind of let's take a little jump in there. Let's get you a little bit prepared, and busted out the Grey's Anatomy book. And so we're going over some anatomy and stuff. And then he just started asking all these really good questions, really good questions. And I'm I didn't think we were going to go this direction at all. Yeah. And we got to actual penetrative sex and how that happens to lead to pregnancy. And he goes, well, yeah, but you don't want a baby every time you do that. So how do you make sure that doesn't happen? I was like,
wow, what a great kid.
Oh my God. So he already gets this is about pleasure, not about reproduction.
Yes.
Okay, let's go. And so then it was condoms and pills and sponges and barrier methods and all this stuff. And then that led to STIs as well. How you could avoid these things.
Beautiful.
As well as a baby. And and it just kept going. And then we got into periods and well, what would you do if one of your friends was on the playground and you noticed? And he's well, hopefully I'd have a sweatshirt or a jacket or something, and I could put it around her waist and walk her to the nurse. And I was oh my, you're the cutest. And so I think it went on for an hour and a half. And I had all sorts of, things from the bathroom. And then I think we had somewhere to go, and it was kind of a good place to wrap it up, so to speak. And we were done. And then I texted some of my girlfriends who had boys his age and was this just happened. And they're did you record it? Because my kid needs all of that. I was no, it was totally spontaneous, which was so much fun.
Oh, I love that. I am a little envious. My 13-year-old is a different kind of kid who he's just so private. So even when he has questions, he's a little reticent to share them. And he's gotten much better, but back then, I had a whole thing between, gender expression, identity, sexuality, sex. I broke it up into pieces, and He was a good sport. He was a great sport. He was like, I understand, but are we done? he was ready to be done. So it was okay.
If I promise you the information is in there, can you stop talking now?
Pretty much. That is his vibe, which is good. And now, as a sex and intimacy coach, I have several interesting books on my shelves, and one of my offices is in my home. And so I'm very curious about some of his friends. I've seen them like looking around the corner like, what is that book? Like, it's very obvious that book has photos. And yes, and my only rule was these books stay in this room. I was like, you are welcome to look at any of them, but they stay in this room.
Yeah.
So.
Because if they disappear, then it gets really weird.
A little weird. Also, I'm just not interested, and I would just stay here. So you're welcome to sit and read in this room as much as you want. But
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
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 Okay. So should we talk about death first?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
we'll go backwards.
Death. Yeah, why not? Yeah. So I'm an end-of-life doula. I help people before, during, and after death. And it can be at any age, right? There's never really an inappropriate age to talk about death, in my opinion. And in fact, I think that's something where we could be talking to 18 and young adults about just what they want for themselves, because their parents don't make those decisions for them. So someone does need to know how they want their body cared for, or what sort of medical things and interventions they would want. And when you start having that conversation at the age of 18, it's going to evolve as you grow and shift and change, and as your landscape or situation shifts. So I think we should be having these conversations all the time. But primarily, I tend to work with people who are in their 60s or 70s, or if they're in their 40s and 50s, kind of caring for their parents. And we're just sort of having a mix of advanced planning conversations, some social and emotional conversations, and then I can show up in an acute moment if there's an immediate diagnosis or an acute medical situation. As an end-of-life doula, I am a non-medical social and emotional support. There are death doulas who have medical training. There are death doulas who have legal training, but I am not one of those. I am non-medical social and emotional support.
So an individual or a family sort of retains your services.
Yes.
By getting involved with you.
Yeah, and I can help in a couple of different ways. So there are the advanced planning conversations, which is just like a general review of what paperwork and planning logistics do you already have in place? What is anything that's missing? Has the landscape changed since you did this work? Because some people do the work in their 40s and 50s, and then in their 70s, they haven't looked at the paperwork in 20 years. And some of the people you were going to leave things to are no longer around, or circumstances have shifted. So sometimes we just go through the checklist of what are the things you have organized? What have you looked at recently? Great. And then we move into between now and whatever the end will be, what's the goal? What's the ideal situation? Both living situation, health situation, because there is this intersection of what are your resources? What is your health status now versus how might that change? And what are all the contingency plans you might have? And we don't have those conversations to control the outcome, but really to have a clearer understanding of an individual or family or couple's sort of life philosophy of what they're trying to go for. So then that way, then this information is shared with their family. So that then when people are in the position that they have to make decisions for each other, it's coming from an informed place.
Yes.
And ideally with some sense of confidence and faith that you're doing the best you can with what you've got, versus people who have had zero information, have to make emergent decisions under duress, and then haven't processed maybe their philosophical feelings about death versus the desire of the person actively going through it, which can bring up a lot of either mixed responses or things that are in conflict with each other. And then that could just cause challenges between family members, and just make the whole experience either more tragic or more traumatic than it needs to be.
Absolutely. Both of those happen. And the emergency department and the ICU is the worst time to be having those conversations for the first time. It's just so, it's so awful. And quite frankly, I thought I would have more answers having done this work to understand why it's so hard. And I actually only have more questions. Having done it, it's I really couldn't tell you. Someone's like, why is it so hard? I'm like, that seems like an obvious question that maybe I would have the answer to. I can't tell you. Well, it's such an individualized thing.
Yes,
why, if you have people A through K, they're going to have a different answer. Every single one of them.
Every single one of them. Difficult. And it's a mix of the upbringing, the landscape, the complications, old wounds, resources. There's just so many pieces. It's like, it's all just hard. That's all I can tell you, is that it's so hard. People will go to great lengths to avoid it and then put themselves through a lot of extra distress because they've avoided it.
Yes, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember like this was the perfect scenario to actually start the conversation if you hadn't already. I, emergency physician, have seen a lot of death, right? And I'm at dinner with both of my parents, who at the time I think were in their 70s, and my dad's cousins, who were also in their 70s. And so it's not imminent. Like everybody, we're at dinner, everybody's having a good
Everyone's
time.
relatively healthy, present, and accounted for. Yep.
But we're closer. Like they're definitely closer to death. And so the cousins were a monk and a nun, and their siblings.
Oh, wow.
Hilarious. So sister and brother, or a sister and a brother, and which I love.
I do.
And they were living together. They had both left their monastic states to take care of their dad. And then they lived together until they both passed away, actually. And so they were talking about, like, you know, what happened to their mom and dad and how all that rolled out, and conflicts with the other siblings, and, you know, kind of filling my dad in on the things that had happened for that time. And so then I took that opportunity to be like, what do you guys want? You know, to all four of them, like,
I
what's
mean, honestly,
the plan?
anytime someone opens that door, I say, go for it. Just try to be like, where does this land for you? Maybe we can revisit this.
Hell yes. And everybody went through, oh, well, I've thought about this and I wouldn't want that. And for sure I'd go for that. And this is the paperwork I've done and blah, blah, blah. And my mom just sat there. Tight-lipped, wouldn't say anything. Like she kind of had maybe a couple comments on the other three, especially when my dad was answering the questions. But like and so finally I was like, yo, lady,
hello,
like, this is the time to give up, like, spill that tea, sister. And she was like, I don't want to talk about this. I'm not going to talk about this. It doesn't matter. And it's like, you're the oldest one sitting at this freaking table right now. And you're like super religious as well. So for sure you have ideas on what you want done, how you want to live, how you want to transition, how you want to die, and what you want to have afterwards. And I'm the only daughter. I'm the only medical person in our family. Like, this is going to be on me. Let's go. Yeah. She would not do it.
Yeah, I always find that like really interesting that you can be so logical, like present exactly why it's so necessary. And in that, someone will just like recede and shut down, stonewall, whatever you want to call it. Like, it's like fascinating.
Yeah, even amongst like your closest human beings, like people that you have known for the vast majority, and everybody's talking about it. And you're like in this super like calm environment that's peaceful and supportive. And
in like a generally what sounds like safe section of life. It's not like there's any traumas or acute things going on right now. Like you're at dinner with friends, like in a relatively safe and stable place. And I know.
She would not. And it literally, I think it wasn't until my dad was in the process of dying and we were going through all of that. And, you know, I'm talking to him a lot about what he wants done. And he and I like were super dark and twisted. And even though he wasn't in medicine, he like delved into that. And so he definitely wanted to be cremated. I don't want somewhere where you guys like go visit me and the tombstone and all that business. He's like, it's just taking up real estate and there's no need for that. And then, so then I found out from my friend's cousin that it takes 200 gallons of fuel to cremate one single body. And my dad was not a small man. So I'm going to round that up to 220. And he was like, that is criminal, like to do that to the environment. I was like, can you freaking imagine? Like, that's ridiculous. And he's like, well, we need an alternative. I'm not doing that. And so then he's like, I want to plant a tree. I want to, you know, and so he was getting into what the most environmentally friendly ends were.
What year is this?
I mean, this probably happened over the course of the last 7 to 8 years that he was kind of looking into things.
Okay.
And then he's like, well, but what if I donate my body to the medical school and then they cremate what's left? And I was like, less gas, and you've already like made a $50,000 donation to science.
Yes,
by not having the med school have to buy a cadaver. Like that's a beautiful gift. Like, could there be a better gift? And so that's kind of what he was going for. And then that got all screwed up when he passed away, and we ended up composting him.
Oh, great.
Which was great. But at that time, I'm like, Ma, you gotta tell me what you want. And she finally, after a very long period of time, was like, I'm going to be with Jesus, so I don't care. Do whatever you want to. And I was like, okay.
Then you are empowered to make, like then whatever we do is whatever we do, because it won't matter. Okay, great.
Yeah. But I needed that. So
for sure.
I'm not religious, so I don't know what your expectations are as far as you meeting your maker.
My dad went he's a stubborn Cambodian man who said, it's all in the safe. I was like, okay, great. He's like, up here. I was like, great. But wait, if you go, I don't have the info. He's like, it's in the safe. I was like, great. Who has the code to the safe? So that is how we got him to tell the code to my brother and I. So we now have the code.
Oh, okay.
I have not seen it. I have no idea if what he deems as organized is what I will deem as organized, but there's a lot of surrender. And I think that is one thing I appreciate about doing end of life work. It's very life affirming, and you just come to a point where you're like, I can't control it. You'll get through it. Every family gets through it, in whatever way. And there are different ways to go about it. And, especially when I'm working with people, it's specifically not my job to have an opinion, but it is my job to have the information and to share the options and to try to align what's possible and available with what works for them or what their ideal is. And
it's amazing though, because the people who don't have these conversations and frankly have, like you said, just shut that idea off, we're never talking about it. It is inevitable. It's going to happen. There's no way around it. And people end up not talking to each other for the rest of their lives if they're not at least similar pages. And like, you don't know until the rubber meets the road. Or you've had those conversations already. And it's so sad when, God forbid it's a tragedy and you didn't see it coming, right? But even sadder to me is when everybody knows it's coming, either because of age
and we're
or
just
disease.
Avoiding. That is the hardest one for me.
And then all of a sudden it's like, well, we have to switch pathways. Nobody knows how to do it. Now everyone left is fighting. The medical staff is like, are we a DNR, DNI, or what are we doing? She wouldn't want this. She wouldn't want that. And like, and it just tears everyone apart. And it could be such a peaceful and loving and like.
Sometimes that's my in with people. I'll say like, I want you to think of this, like, I understand you don't like the topic, but especially when we're talking about a parent and we have children or siblings in the mix as their, legacy, that I try to say, like, think about loving people all the way to the end. Like, and here's the thing, would you want a misunderstanding in this acute situation to affect or cause a tiny fissure or fracture in their relationship from this moment forward? And so sometimes you can get to people that way by just saying, like, think of it as loving them all the way to the end. Think of it as you helping them make better decisions. And sometimes that doesn't work, but that is a way that sometimes when they're so caught up in how they feel about it, it's like, right, but you have children, you have adult sibling children who are navigating a difficult thing. And I think, and you will know more than I do, especially with like our state laws versus other states, but also if you don't have some of this stuff lined out, or if you don't have a medical power of attorney, then I think the medical ethics is that they have to take all measures possible to keep you alive. And then your body might be going through things you didn't want, but then they don't have a say because you didn't have it assigned. And then it can be really painful. I think people don't even think about, that situation.
Yes. In our medical system, let me back that up. In our legal system,
there we go.
This is litigiously driven. You do everything you can unless you are told specifically not to, because it is the survivors that are going to sue you. And so there's all sorts of precedents that have been set that even if the patient who is dying has been very clear in their paperwork, in their desires, they have told everybody in front of you all of the things have happened. When those vital signs go crashing down, if there is one single person in that room who says, no, you have to save him, you have to save him. And like, you don't have time to sit down and have like a 20-minute conversation to say like, this is what your parent wanted, or this is what your loved one. And what we're doing to them is catastrophic and tragic. Like, we are going to break every single bone in their chest, like all of this stuff. And they haven't processed that information and they're not on board. You have to go with the person who's going to sue you.
Oh, yeah.
And it has torn staff apart.
I'm sure.
And it certainly tears the family apart.
Yes, it really does.
Yes.
Which is, again, why just trying to have it outside of an acute moment in a calmer state. And that's part of my role, is to sort of make the very tender or difficult material a little more approachable. And just to sort of create and hold like a braver space to kind of navigate some of it. But yeah,
that is lovely. It really is, because again, it's part of life is figuring out how you want to die. Yeah. If you have the option.
If you have, I mean, and that's a whole other thing, just where privilege and resources come in with what's available to you, you know, at the end of life, which, I mean, right now, because death doulas are not formally recognized in the spectrum of care at the end of life, we are private pay, which, you know, is mixed. It's just mixed.
Sure.
It'd be nice if it were more readily available to people, but at the same time, we don't have the resources as a very renegade little community of doulas to like take on the legislators and take on and like, you know, lobby and for all of that stuff. And to what end, right? To everything with Medicaid and things like that are being cut and reduced. And so this is not something people care about. It's not something they value. And so trying to convince people the value in it, it's kind of it's an uphill battle, but it's a really important one to have, because there is something I think that happens like at that veil, you know, there's just something when we start to respect death and sort of, there's something about coming to terms with like how you view death, your relationship to death. And I think it's really life affirming when you do that work.
I was going to say, in light of exploring death and the end and your preferences there, it can really shed a light on how you want to live every day until then, right?
I mean, I think so. That's what happens for people who, so I have this like sort of advanced planning thing that I do with people, and the feedback I always get is how life affirming it is. And some of them, you know, like one couple, they're in their 80s and they had some like money that was just sitting around, and they realized like, we don't know what we're waiting for. And so after we had done the work, had the conversation with their sons to just kind of go over, here's what means a lot to them, here's what they want. They were like, we're healthy. We're pretty healthy. I mean, they were doing great. They were in their like late 80s and they were doing great, but they were like, we want to go ahead and take a trip now to California. And they sort of did this like little tour to kind of go say bye to the last of their friends who were still alive.
Yes.
That way, if health things changed, if anything shifted for them, they had at least done the thing and they had the extra money. So they did. And now they're just like enjoying life at their little lake house and seeing their grandkids until it's time.
Beautiful.
You know? So
yes.
I do. And I think as someone who works in this, I mean, I think about death every day, but it helps me be really thoughtful about the words I'm using, really present with the people I'm with, thoughtful about the choices I'm making or my time. So I feel like I feel more alive and present than before when I was in like a typical my old corporate job.
Yeah.
No. So.
Yeah. You know, emergency physicians have this like work hard, play hard.
Yes. So you also have probably a dark relationship with to keep yourselves through it, to keep a sense of humor, to get through all of it.
There are so many reasons why that tends to be very true. And some of it is like the job is killing us and we know it and we feel it. And so you got to go out and play and have a really high quality of life when you're not in the department. But I do think a lot of it is like, wow, that just happened yesterday and I have not laughed and had pleasure and had joy and like I'm just in this rut and I need to really focus on some very good times because I saw something yesterday that slayed my soul. Like that just moral injury.
Sure.
And so I think we like tend to assuage that with I'm going to go hang from something really high and look down over the mountains. And, you know, I'm going to like scuba dive and go see things that most people never see.
I'm going to go live because I can.
Yep. Yeah. I'm going to go big because that fuckery that just happened last night could totally be me, my kid, my loved ones.
I was going to say, I think also because you see it in the range of ages. Like a lot of us, if we do see death, we tend to see it. I mean, you see it sort of like if you've lost someone too young, but like for some of us, it's like grandparents and things. But you're in a situation where you're seeing all ages and all manner of tragic and senseless situations. So.
I mean, that whole cliche of like, don't forget to hug your kids. Like, we mean that shit like all the way,
all the time,
inside and all the way.
You
through.
Never forget that. And I think some people do lose track of that if they're not confronted with the darker realities,
which is good. Realities. Like humans aren't meant to deal with what we deal with.
Yeah,
honestly,
no, that's true.
So that's not something our psyche was built for. So those of us who subject ourselves to that, like we get weird. Yeah. There's a lot of pressure from that darkness to find the light. And
I've always sort of felt like that profession sort of needs like a cycle where it's like, cool, you work for 3 years and then you go get a year off, and then you work for 3 years and then you go get a year off, or even a smaller cycle, you know, but like every 6 months, take a month, because you would have to actually ritualistically, like somatically, get some of that out.
And I think some of the European countries do that. You're going to be gone for 3 weeks because that thing just happened. Don't even step foot in this, you know.
I wish we in the U.S. had a more welcoming view of like allowing people to process the things they actually go through. I wish we saw it differently. Which I think is why I ended up doing some of the stuff that I did. It's like, I don't know, all we can do is carve the paths that we see and try to make space for like a different way of doing things, you know?
So that brings us to another thing that you do. Is that healing and soothing wounds part of what you do in your Reiki practice? Yeah,
for sure. And I've definitely had lately I've really had some profound shifts in even my experience of Reiki. And it's funny, so I was raised Catholic. I'm not I don't practice a religion right now, but I have never felt closer to Jesus than I do doing Reiki, which is not, I could tell you right now, that's not what I thought was going to happen. That's not what I thought was going to happen. I was like, okay.
I'm sitting here like, did you just say that?
I literally because I still, sometimes I struggle. I'm like, I feel very close to Jesus when I am doing Reiki. And especially when you read some of the stories and just like energy and like, because Reiki is radical love. It is radical loving energy, like from source. And for those who don't know what Reiki is a healing modality that uses a mix of touch and non-touch. So I use my hands hovering over someone's body, or sometimes directly on their body, their head, their shoulders, parts of their abdomen, their feet, their hands, to channel like healing energy, like from my life force is a part of it, but it's not me. Like Reiki comes from source. So I am more of a channel and a conduit. And I am a skeptic. So I'm less of a skeptic now, but I'm way less of a skeptic now. But when I first got into Reiki, I was super skeptical. And then because of things that had been happening to me, like honestly, my whole life, at different times in my life had sort of shared things that had happened, and it happened 3 times. There were 3 different times, one in my teens, one in my early 20s, and then again in my late 20s, that someone was like, have you heard of Reiki? Maybe you should go find a teacher and like have someone tell you, like, because I hadn't, and I really believe it's one of the reasons why I relocated from the East Coast. And I really think the reason I landed here is because my mentor and teacher is in Red Rock, and it's like north. So I just think that's like cosmically my journey was supposed to come here because I was supposed to learn from her.
Okay.
But you know, like I just had energetic things happen where I would like kind of swap energies with people, or stuff would happen. I would sort of see or hear things, not in a, like not hearing things like I'm hearing voices in my head, but this is what happens. It's called clairaudience. It's where you sort of hear messages. And I never thought I was crazy. I was never scared, but I would just be like, that's interesting. And then it would happen. And that's sort of how I came to trust it. I was like, oh, I can trust information that I receive. But there was a point where I kind of shut it down in my like teens. So, and I've never really understood how to open it back up. Anyway, I officially took my first Reiki class in 2020. But I didn't officially start doing like Reiki on people until 2020, but I could sense things, I can feel things. It's been a thing for me. And so, yeah, healing with Reiki, I've had some profound experiences myself and with like my clients and the things that they can experience or what happens for them. And what I like about Reiki is I think it's a really beautiful complement to therapy and other modalities, because there's just a point where like talking doesn't work, but we are made of water and electrical pulses. Like there's quantum entanglement, like we can sense each other. There's just this part of our being that exists and hovers outside of us. And so, so I have a studio in my home. I have a Reiki table. People come in, lay down. It's 90 minutes. We talk a little bit, so they're really on the table anywhere from 45 to 60 minutes. But to just kind of focus what they're working on. But they can work through things that have bothered them for a long time, things they've been traumatized without any talking. And I can kind of sense them or feel them in their body. And I, just step aside. Like my ego has to kind of chill out. I have to get into a meditative state, and like what's meant to move moves, what needs to stay stays, what needs to communicate with that body and that person so that they can make better choices or be clear about how to help themselves comes through. Sometimes I see or feel things, and if they want to know, I'll offer, and if they don't, I don't. But they participate in their own recovery from things, whether it's physical, emotional, or energetic. I don't know. I've just experienced some pretty profound things with my client.
Does it take energy away from you?
No. So that's like the amazing thing about Reiki is that it doesn't pull from me. I will say there is an ethics to Reiki. So like we don't do Reiki on people who have not given us permission to do it. So that doesn't mean I don't offer things. Like I might, if I see something disturbing in the world, I might offer Reiki. But one of the things you do is you say like, I offer this to this person or to these people or to this thing. Should it be desired and received? And if not, please redistribute to the greater good. So It can still go out and around, but we just don't do it. And then when people do ask, I just say do it. Like, especially if they're like, my sister's sick in the hospital, can you? And I'm like, do I have her permission? And if they're like, oh, she can't talk, and I'll be like, okay, so I'll send it. And same thing, just be like, should this person be open? Should the soul and spirit be open to it? Please receive these. But if not, please distribute to the greater good. Or then I send to the other person who like asked.
Right.
So, but there is an ethics, but you don't have to believe in it to work. And there is, what is the actual question you asked? So sorry, I just like lost the question.
Do you have an energy suck?
So it doesn't suck from me. And in fact, there's like an exchange that happens sometimes on the table where I don't interfere, but I'll just feel like I'm giving and channeling, and I'll feel kind of buzzy, and I'll feel like a boost from it. So it actually benefits me, but I'm also specific not to like feast on anything or like pull or take. So if you do Reiki, that's part of the like ethics that you're committing to, that you're saying like, I'm here to be a channel and a support, and I'm here for the greatest good. And like, kind of like, use me, you're sort of like, hi, just use me to the greatest good of this being, and let them hear and know what they need to know and hear. And I'm just here as like a channel. At least that's how I was taught to approach my Reiki, and like my personal practice is to not have an opinion. Because they sometimes say like, don't do Reiki on people you know really well. You just have to be mature enough to step aside and not have your own desires for that person. Right. So if I like want my 13-year-old son to make better choices or go to school, I can't be like, okay, like focus on school. Like, it's not my job to put things I want into that. Right. It's my job to just say, let this body, let this soul receive the information and healing they need.
Right.
So you do. And if you can't step aside, then you shouldn't be doing Reiki.
I'm definitely not meant for that. Because I'd be like, just leave her ass.
Yes. Like get out of there. Get rid of this. Yeah, listen, when someone tells me some of the challenges they're having, I can identify when I have an opinion about it. But if they've said like, I'm feeling lost, I'll be like, help them find their way in this relationship. Like you help them, they need to know. Like they are asking, help them know. But other times I like sense things in their bodies. And there are times like I can feel it and I know it's something that they're wrestling with. And I actually like talk to it. I mean, I'll be like, you can't stay here. Like if you stay here, you have to talk to her and tell her what she needs or tell her what you need, but you don't get to keep doing what you're doing.
Okay.
So decide, either work with her or leave. And then usually something happens and either my client will tell me of some revelation they've had or some sort of thing that's happened, which the most expressive that anyone's ever had is I instructed them to take like a spiritual bath after, and then in the middle of their bath, they vomited, but they felt a million times better. I was like, okay, I can't say that was related, but I can't guarantee it wasn't. I can't say it wasn't related.
Yeah.
Yeah. And actually that happened a couple of weeks ago and she's doing way better. She's like, I feel really different.
Interesting.
So some people have some profound things that we can't like necessarily prove, but also she'd been wrestling with a feeling she'd had for a while.
Well, and placebo effect is real.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And so
that's why when people are doubters, I'm like, I don't need you to believe, but also someone having a profound sense of deep relaxation for 60 minutes on a table in this world is not going to hurt you. Like I have a really warm, cushy table. I have some nice music. The lights are lowered. And they're sometimes they fall asleep. But what I notice most of all is they're not asleep, but they're not in the room either. Like they go somewhere and I go somewhere sometimes when I'm doing it. And sometimes we see the same things. Sometimes we go to the same place. It's very interesting. But that's why for me, I was like, I don't need anyone to believe this. What I need is to meet this person's need. It's just like end of life work. It's like, I'm meeting you where you're at. So you tell me what you're at, what you're after. We talk about things. And part of it's also just opening up people's minds to what's possible.
Sure.
Because the stuff I'm talking about is certainly very woo or kind of out there. But when you create space to just say, okay, whether or not it's true or not, like what's true for you, what feels good. So whether it's placebo effect or whether there's just permission that's happened in their psyche that allows other things to happen, great.
Well, we have such a hard time being present, letting go of the absolute hectic chaos around us.
Yes.
That, who knows? Like it could just be you're finally listening to yourself.
Correct.
Or,
or just like 60 minutes to rest. I mean, that's a profound amount of rest at a deep state. Your brain gets to go into a different place. Like we know the alpha, beta waves, like they all change. Like you get to go somewhere else.
Right.
And so whatever repair work there is to do in there. And then I have things that happen for me where I literally feel it physically. I sense things like weird smells come. And it's just interesting. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know, I'm smelling grass or I'm doing this. Like I have one client. So I don't know if it's because I do end of life work too. I think it's related. Often, sometimes their dead will come to them while I'm working on them.
Oh, sure.
So like one time I was like, I don't know. All I could smell was like fresh grass, like summer mow grass. And she was like, oh, that's my mother-in-law that she just like loved to. And I saw her, she came to me. I was thinking about her the whole time. So it was just like interesting. Like she's thinking about her mother-in-law the whole time and I'm smelling. So it's like, I can't tell, but she has a correlation. It makes perfect sense to her. And then for her, just sort of validated, like she feels, and I'm like, great, like I couldn't tell you. And sometimes I don't volunteer the things I do, and other times, because it's like, it feels weird. I mean, there's some stuff that comes out of like right field that I'm like, I'm not going to say that. That seems weird. And that's where I'm a skeptic, because I have figured out that when I trust and I just say the thing, it will almost always have a deep connection for that person on the table. Almost always. And I'm like, oh, I'm such a skeptic, Melissa, just trust. But it can feel weird. I mean, there's all kinds of weird things like macaroni and cheese to red popsicles to just stuff that you're like, I don't know, this is the thing does this mean anything? And they're like, oh my gosh, yes, Yeah. So there's something in it. There's something in the energy that they're there. And if they find something healing, that's all I'm there. I want to help. And if it creates a path that someone can see something for themselves or find relief when they've really been struggling. And I think the more I've practiced, the more I'm like, yeah, okay. Like it's not for everyone, but for the people who've tried everything, because that's usually when they find me. They're really distraught over something and they're like, I have tried everything. I'm like, well, let's just see. Let's see what happens. And usually like 4 sessions, there's like a profound shift that happens for them. So feels good. Feels like the right thing to be doing. I feel like I'm helping. That's all I want. So
yeah, I mean, you're definitely in service, and if people are finding you sort of at their wits' end, and you're not a cul-de-sac, you're like, okay, let's try another pathway and see
if it works. It works. Yes. Great. If it doesn't, like take what serves, leave the rest. And I mean, I think what's interesting. So I work with a lot of nurses. So I have one nurse who came to me, and then she started sending her. Because they were like, what are you doing? Because y'all take on so much as medical professionals, and they They just do. You get caught up in energy. There's the rush and the adrenaline of like your day-to-day experiences, and then like what people are going through, the really tough things you have to witness. And so that's actually a place where I think I have room to serve more or be more present with, because I think I help people move some of that stuff that gets stuck, and they're really stressful jobs. So caregivers, teachers, medical professionals who are like in the thick of it.
Yeah, I think it was my last interview was with the caregiver doula.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, her name's Tara.
Yes.
And it was so so she's more on the logistical side of like, this is how you organize taking care of people to like take things off of your plate, because your plate is so like heaped, overflowing, right?
Yes.
And so if you're able to organize things and stay on top of the paperwork, and then other people understand your value, understand your worth, so you can be more confident in what you're offering to the situation and this event. And, and so all of the logistical work is something that she helps out with, and maneuvering through healthcare systems and the VA.
Yes, and sharing all the communication with all the right people, so you can sort of help.
Yes, that nightmare of literally every 10 minutes, like, did you have a bowel movement? Did you take a medication? Were you having a symptom that needed to be noticed? What is our doctor's appointment? How the hell are we getting there? Like all of that, which was just like, I'm such a type A, it would make me like want to stab my eyes out. Especially with what like I had to go through with my dad a year and a half ago, and taking care of all of that. And just, I can't imagine. I mean, people end up being caregivers for years, right? Like if you have a spouse or a child or a parent, or, it's your cousin or whatever, and you've taken that on, it could be years that you're taking care of them. And, so the fact that you are able to like, you're doing the energy and body work for that person to like sustain themselves so that they can continue to do their best. Oh my gosh. I mean, when my therapist told me that I had PTSD, I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. What? Like, I didn't go to war. I wasn't deployed. I don't, and I was thinking of this very old definition of PTSD. And she's like, well, let's talk about these things. And I'm just like nauseated and feel really hot. My guts feel weird, and my armpits are tingly, and I don't know if I'm crying or yelling at her. I can't figure out my mood. And she's like, you're having a somatic physical response to just suggestions of memories or even asking questions. And so I think people don't give that enough
I'm with you.
Enough credence.
Yes, I'm with you. And I think that's one of the things I've really valued for Reiki for myself, and in giving it that like, and I think because of the things that I'm familiar with and comfortable with, I'm like, it's a safer space. So this space is brave for you. If you want it, like, let it out. So sometimes people come and they're howling, like crying, sobbing in session. Other times they don't talk much. And then they're just like, I feel 1,000 pounds lighter. I'm like, okay, great. Like, good, take it with you. Like, we'll see, so it can show up in so many different ways, but it is just a safer space where you don't have to talk through everything, but to know that there's a different way to work through some stuff. And I like full support of talk therapy. Like, it's absolutely necessary. And sometimes bodies need just a couple other things to support, because the cognition is not always the thing that's going to unlock it for somebody, Well,
yeah. And I mean, there should be a multi-pronged approach to a lot of different things, right? And the heavier and more awful and darker and scarier and all of that, like one modality is probably not going to do it.
Yeah, totally.
I think I ended up at my first sound bath sort of accidentally. Like,
I love a sound bath.
Oh, that sounds kind of ridiculous. Oh no, that's what it was. I had gone to a goddess circle, and it was like this 4-hour thing where we were doing interpersonal exercises, doing a little shadow work, journaling, and I am not a woo-woo person. Like, I have, taken a couple of forays into that, but it's certainly not where I lived until a couple of years ago. And, but I was like, oh, I love these ladies and it'll be great. And this is something that I would never do for myself. So I'm gonna support the person putting it on because I love her. And, one of the final things, and we did some ecstatic dance.
Love it. Yes.
And the final thing was a sound bath. And I was like, whatever. And they started playing, and there were 4 or 5 women. And so some people were coming around and doing Reiki. they were taking turns doing the sound bath because it was 50 minutes, and that's a lot of energy.
Yep.
And so, you know, we laid down, got comfortable. Then they started playing the instruments, and I was like, oh my God, this is so loud, because I have terrible misophonia. And I was like, I don't know that I'm going to be able to,
like, almost dysregulating for you.
Yeah. Like, I was like, oh my God, it's so loud, and there's no way I can lay here for 50 minutes and just be bombarded with this noise, right?
Yes.
And so then, you know, it changes and different instruments are playing and whatnot. And then, like, I don't know if they realized, like, I was, you know, levitating or what, but one of the women came over and did some Reiki, and I felt her hands on my feet, and like that kind of brought things down for
Grounded
me.
you, yeah, sure.
And at the end of it, I was like, what just happened? Like, I felt the misophonia really like calm down. I was interested in like hearing all the different things that they were playing, and it was more this very peaceful curiosity instead of like, what the hell is that thing?
Yes.
And so it was like my sympathetic nervous system just was like, oh, we can stand down. Everything's okay. And I felt calmer. And I think we had some tea afterwards. And I forced myself to come home and go to bed earlier than I ever did. Honestly, the best night's sleep I've had.
That I get a ton. People usually sleep great the night of Reiki.
Oh my God.
And then they often, like in the next couple of days, there's like an integration period. And sometimes they just have either awarenesses, memories, or it's one of the things that I'm like, don't knock it till you try it or ask some questions about it. Like, it's not for everyone, but for the people for whom it works, it is a powerful tool.
Yeah. I scheduled a session with one of the ladies who did it. Really loved that. And I went out to dinner with some friends afterwards who I see on a fairly regular basis. And I walked in and they were all,
you look different.
Ew, what's...
Yes.
What happened? I was just like...
Yes.
Did you just have a massage? I'm all...
There is like a Reiki face. There is like yeah, exactly. There is a... Yeah.
Yeah. I can't, like, I don't know what it is. Like, I would love some science behind it and some data points and subjective.
Well, so there are some actual studies, and they have done some. I'll see if I can find the links for you, but there were some that actually had Reiki practitioners like in surgeries. And so the recovery times for those people who had the Reiki practitioner in during their surgeries was like 30% faster. Their need for pain medication was reduced. So there are some studies, and there are, because it's also, you know, for people who are doubtful about it. Oh, I'm going to forget his name. There's a Japanese man who did some experiments with giving, like, using verbal commands, but like with water as it's freezing, and it affected the way the crystals in the water actually froze.
Shut up.
Nope. I have a book. So the thing that happens, and so this was one of the purposes, was to say like energy is real and has an effect. And so his lab assistants did a mix of like saying I love you to water as it was freezing under the same conditions, same water, same conditions. And then I hate you, and the crystal, and they're like jagged. They look more jagged and harsh in the I hate you, and they're like soft and curvy in the I love you. They did an experiment where they pulled water from some of the like miraculous sites. So like Lourdes in France, they pulled water that froze differently than some of the other ones. And then, they just did other things where they played different music. And so water freezing to really rageful rock music versus classical had different crystals in it. So even in that, if you say like we are, because we're water, right? We're electrical impulses. Like there is movement in cells that oxygen changes, all of this stuff. So like just breathing there, like you can see the path where like, of course, would it have an effect? Okay, yes. If I can open my mind to the fact that it might have an effect, then what would happen if someone is just radically focused on you? Because that's my job, is to be radically present and focused on this person, and then just channeling like origin source love. It came, so Dr. Usui is sort of the one who's credited with like sort of bringing Reiki. It was like an awareness and awakening that happened to him in the late 1800s. And then a woman named Mrs. Takata is the one who brought it to the US and taught it to people. So that's sort of how it went from Japan to the US. They teach it all over the world. But I would also argue that Reiki has been around since before then. That's why I think I feel connected strangely to Jesus Christ when that I think there is something about a radical sense of love and like positive, unconditional positive regard that comes from a hopeful source energy place.
Mm-hmm.
So it's out there, but man, it has changed my life. I mean, I was looking for generational healing. There was like generational trauma, like just stuff that I was like, how do I do this? Like we can acknowledge epigenetics exists. We can acknowledge that generational trauma is a thing. And that's really what drove me. I was like, help me. How do I fix this? Like, what can I do?
Yes.
And Reiki. I mean, Reiki is one of the answers I found for myself that really worked. So I went through the training to help myself and then was like, oh, I want to do this with other people too.
I think one of my friends, that's how she got into Reiki as well. And she's an engineer. Like she, like me, science, facts, business, objective evidence, like write it down, show me the numbers, graph it out.
Yep.
And so when she told me she was getting into Reiki, I'm like, what?
Yes, I
would say she's less woo-woo than I am. Like, what? I did not expect that. But she's like, this is changing my life.
Yep.
It's changing how I interact with people. She definitely has a different energy and vibe about her that's calmer. Like, I feel like I used to say, like, my eyes are very sharp and pokey, and hers are not like quite as much. And so, and she was lovely when my dad was dying. She obviously, got wind of that, and she was like, would you mind if I sent your dad some energy and stuff like that? And I was like, oh my God, please. And she's like, could you let him know? I was like, yeah, absolutely. And so I don't know if I called him or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's it. You're just looking for like some buy-in, permission, and just that you're in your ethics and that it feels good. So, and then that's the thing. The thing about Reiki, because like the thing about Reiki is like all time is now. And so time is non-local. And this is kind of like a, quantum-y, bendy kind of way of thinking of things. And so I sort of also trust that like somewhere in the timeline, I would come across someone and be like, hey, I wanted to send you this Reiki, and that you would have the opportunity to consent into it and it would be fine. So like you just sort of, and as long as it's coming from the greater good of, but I always do it. It's like, hi, I send this, I get into different things. It's like that I'm really interested in the plight of certain people around the world. And then I think of them and I don't necessarily have their permission, but I offer it and say, if you want it, take it. If not, to the greater good.
Right.
Because either way, there's no harm. It's just like a prayer. Like it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. Like how do we just focus that and give a sense of like surrender, peace, calm, love. So yeah, but I'm a much different person since I've been doing it. I'm a kinder person since I've been doing Reiki, for sure.
Well, just that, like, I feel like the world is moving away from that quite quickly. So
yes, I know it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then how did you get into being a kink coach?
Well, mostly, so first was becoming a sex and intimacy coach, and that was to save my marriage.
Also, yes.
So I happily sex and intimacy coach, and it saved my marriage. I didn't think we were gonna make it. We've been married for 20 years now, so together for 22.
Congratulations.
Thanks. It feels like a real accomplishment. Like marriage is hard. And I never intended to get married, so like we are way off what's supposed to happen. I'm supposed to have like multiple lovers. That's what's supposed to happen. I was gonna have like 3 or 4 boyfriends, a girlfriend here, move around, do what I want, fine. Nope, that's not what happened, and that's okay. He was the right person, but we were not well matched when it came to like our sexual desires for frequency, intensity, that kind of thing. And we really struggled to talk about it just because of how we were both conditioned. I mean, he's a Montanan. Montanans do not inconvenience anyone. They don't ask for anything that they want. They're very polite. They're very quiet. They keep to themselves, and you have to like,
everything's fine.
Yeah, everything's fine.
Why would there be a complaint when everything's fine?
Yeah, and we can joke about it now. This used to be a massive insult, but now we can joke about it. But I would have to surgically remove information from him. It's like what it felt like. It was
Wait, my ex-husband, were you married to my ex? Because Wisconsin, kind of the same thing.
Same,
right?
Totally,
like,
right.
Everything's fine.
Yes, everything's fine. So, and I had a lot of big feelings, and I had a really big appetite, and I also had my own conditioning to unpack to figure out like there were things that just weren't even on the menu when I was younger, and questions I just didn't even ask. And I'm naturally a curious person, and there is something about true kindness that really allows people to just be who they are. And so there was just at this intersection of like really valuing kindness and then really going like, it's about being truthful and like just understanding what's true. That's what I'm curious about. So I went through a couple different kinds of trainings. I was certified in the erotic blueprints, and just learned different language and different language so that we had common language. There's a thing about, you know, sexuality for women in this culture and what is allowed or not allowed, what is acceptable, not acceptable. I'm 44, so I grew up in the time, and I grew up in the South and as a Catholic. So be grateful, be pure.
Yeah.
And I don't know, surprised that wasn't enough. I don't want to just be grateful, and I don't want to be pure. And now I'm an awful, terrible person.
Obviously,
I am a terrible slut.
Horrific
and so, yes,
troll. Yes.
I'm a hussy. You know, and that's not helpful. It's not helpful at 13 to have some story about yourself that you're a hussy because you think boys are cute. Like this is not the truth. But it was a lot for me to unpack and a lot for me to figure out how to talk about what I actually wanted. And I didn't know, and I didn't know how to know. So just going through some of the different trainings, I also figured out I was a little bit of a kinkster, and I had some shame about that, which is very common. And so and I got lucky. Like, I think some people are in decent marriages and one or two things are off, but like everything was great except for our sex life. And I was like, am I really going to blow up? Like, I was a starving shapeshifter. I was a starving person in my sexuality and didn't have words for it. And then he also didn't have words for it so that it would be taken seriously. And there's something about the gender dynamic between male, female, what's real, what's taken for real, what's not, if you can't see it, if you don't have that need, is it real? That kind of thing. So it just helped us really see each other, right? And I was not kind sometimes because I was like, we need to be having more sex. Like, and that's not his personality. Like, he likes to have sex when he wants to. He just doesn't need to very often. And certainly not very often compared to what often is for me. So we just had
Did that trigger your hussiness?
Like a little bit, for sure.
Feeling like, oh my God, what's wrong with me that I need it so frequently?
Correct. Yes. It triggered a lot of stuff. And I just, you know, it's a mix of like age, also the estrogen leaving your body and caring less about stuff. But yeah, I just was in a spot where I was like, there's a different way for us to do it. And we went and we figured it out. And the thing that I think what I like about doing sex and intimacy coaching, I don't think incompatibility exists as long as you have openness and willingness. If someone is unwilling to learn new information or unwilling to consider, then yes, there's incompatibility can break you up. But if some people just have different needs, I talk to a lot of couples who just say, we're incompatible, we're never going to make it. I'm like, hold on. Are you both open and willing to learning new stuff? They say yes. And I'm like, then incompatibility is not a thing.
Well, especially if they've sought your help, right?
Correct. If they're already open. It's harder when one person comes to me and they're almost asking me to act like an oracle to convince their partner to be a different way. And it's like, hold on, we can't do that. That's not why we're here.
To work magic.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's like, no, we'll talk through stuff. But the work really does unpack a lot of the luggage people are carrying that they don't realize they're carrying. And so it just is like, well, let's first just figure out what your body responds to. So we're not going to label anything. We just want to figure out and normalize that there might be different things. Like people who are sensitive to Reiki, who either give Reiki or like to receive it, are often very energetic, which means from a distance, they can like make really deep eye contact and just sit with you and breathe with you and start to feel turned on. Whereas someone else like me, I need a little more physical touch to get to turn on, but not that much more. But so just even having that language so that my partner knows what does get us on the ramp to turn on versus what takes us off the ramp matters. And then understanding things like from Dr. Emily Nagoski, like the dual control model of turn on. So knowing what puts the gas on, what puts the brakes on. And when you start to know those things and talk about them, you can converse differently with your partner. And then there's just honestly a ton of communication skill building where it's like, yeah, no, we're not going to say, no, stop that. When like there's a softer way. Yeah. There's a more gentle way to introduce something to someone. Right. Like no wonder they freeze and retract from you when you say that. You know, so what's fun is that I do some, like, it takes a lot of rapport building, but sometimes I am helping couples virtually or in person, like with their touch scale. So I don't touch my clients. And when we work together, nipples and genitals have to be covered, but they might do some stuff. And we're very clear with the container, but like I do help increase, because sometimes people really just don't have any touch skill. And then they feel really ashamed of it, or they feel super self-conscious, or they don't know how to talk about it. So I think there's a real freedom in just being like, hey, this is normal. You want to be better at something that you're not so great at, or like, how can we talk about this? And I think being able to talk about sort of taboo topics and not be like, it just makes it easy but it's funny in a day. I can talk about so many different things,
that really speaks to my sort of ADHD.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I
also need to be able to talk about lots of different things in a day.
Oh my God, the variety is so necessary.
Yes, totally.
When I was trying to figure out, which physician I wanted to be, I thought for sure I was going to do orthopedics. 100%.
Okay.
I didn't go to med school to be a doctor. I went to become an orthopedic surgeon. Like that was the goal.
Okay.
And then I started realizing,
right? And
yes, 90 degrees. This is the box. This is like, hello, doctor. This is your, surgical schedule for the day. These are the people you're seeing in the office. And the idea of that started making me like kind of get a little itchy.
Yes.
But I really liked, because I was an athletic trainer. So it was like, I need sports medicine and I need athletes and the sports and like all of that. And so orthopedics was the only way to get that niche in my head.
That makes sense.
But then that started falling away when I was like, oh, variety and like seeing new things and being surprised and like having aha moments.
So you went to the other end of the spectrum.
Right. Where I was like, I have no idea what's going to happen at all today. Let's giddy up. And so, yeah. But I am glad, like, I think I would have been really good at surgery. I have good hands. I'm very much into procedures. I love power tools, like all of those things. And I have decent bedside manner, so I'm going to be a whole lot better than a lot of orthopedic surgeons out there. And I could have gone back to the athletics, right? But yeah, there was something like, there was something about that variety and I'm going to be surprised and see something new on a pretty regular basis, because humans are fucking wacky and we do crazy stuff to each other and to ourselves. And so I love it that you have like multiple different fingers in different pies, even in the same day.
I mean, I similarly, from the way my brain works, it's the variety is helpful. And I think really they're just all three places you go, and they're all three taboo. And that's sort of what happened. I had been doing Reiki. I had unintentionally served as, or like, sort of just been called to serve as a death doula, because by the nature of the situations, it was like, oh, I kind of know what to do and I can help. And then I like more formally studied it and was like, oh, I really want to pursue that more and normalize the conversation and just approach that differently. And then, I just was like, sex, death, and Reiki, like they really are all three places that we go. Like you go, when you're having sex with someone, it's a place you go with them. And when you go and have Reiki, there's a place you go while you're there. And when you're dying, there's a place that you go. Like, so it just like hit me, and I was like, I'm really into the sacredness of those spaces, those liminal spaces when we're not really here nor there. And that when we allow ourselves to drop into it, I just think there's something magical that can happen. And then imagine if we made it so that it was okay for you to figure out those things, like what it could do for the psyche, the soul. So that's how Sacred Transits was born. I was just like, I'm gonna do this. And I know it's completely out there, but I think it's needed, and we're gonna just figure it out. And like, I'm just following the path. So, so that's what it was. It was like, I want to have better sex. I don't want to be so lonely in this. And I really think we can do a lot of these things differently. And, I don't really talk about this a lot, but when we go into those liminal spaces and realize there's more freedom for ourselves, we become, whether we know it or not, more comfortable with other people having more freedom. And so I just think there's a deeper thing that if everyone can just be a little more liberated, it's a little safer for everybody. In the long run, that can't hurt. So
absolutely. I've sort of, in my own journey, thought that I was very non-judgmental. But when I look back on things that I thought, said, felt 5, 10, 15 years ago, there was some judgment there.
Yeah.
And since my own exploration in different professions, a different career, getting to know people in other careers and professions, my own sexual transformation, now I'm like, this is really very interesting and freeing. And I can connect with a lot more people who have been judged and have been faced with feeling a lot of shame interacting with other people, or even talking about their activities, proclivities, fantasies, dreams, whatever. And now I come from this place of curiosity, like, that does not sound fun or good to me at all. I want to know all about it.
More,
like, do you have any pictures? Do you have any videos? Like, I need to know everything about that. Even though I would not be caught dead doing any of that. But like, I actually kind of want to see it. So I'm a total voyeur. I kind of knew that before, but even more so now, where I'm just like, those people are so not attractive. I can be here for 40 minutes and watch whatever the hell is going on over there, right? Because it's just the curiosity.
Totally.
And,
well, and I attended a kink event in October in Colorado, and I was helping sort of work the event. And so my role was to just check in with people if this was going beyond sort of their nervous system, or to help them check in and make sure they were still in their consent. And that's one of the best things about the kink culture, is that so much about consent work comes from that, and they just have such a beautiful practice. And so that's definitely one of my biggest learnings, is the level to which I was not actively consenting into things, and how that made me feel about other stuff really changed. And now I show up differently in different spaces because of just even that practice. But at one point I was sitting on a couch just talking to one of the other like staff members, and we were like, every party's going, because it was officially my first sex party. I had been to other play parties, but I'd never been to a sex party. And I didn't actually know technically this was going to be a sex party until like 2 hours before, when I was like, oh, and I had to call my husband and be like, hi, clarification on our container. I am attending a sex party.
We cool?
Yeah, like, our general container is still intact. Like, we have some very specific rules. And I was like, I don't need anything, but I just need you to not feel like I've withheld anything from you. He's like, no, great, feels good. And he was so generous with the container. He literally said, do whatever you need to do to feel like you'd be a better coach. So whatever is helping you learn, go do it. So I could have reframed anything in that context, right? But also like, I have his trust, like he trusts me. And I did exactly what I felt like I needed to do that would help me learn as a coach, because that's the capacity I was in. I was there as staff and to be a support. And so it was just really nice to have that. And that, I mean, I can't express to you how far we've come for him to say that to me.
Oh yeah.
With complete trust and just being like, whatever. And then he didn't really
most partners would have been like, you better get your butt back to the hotel.
Right.
You are no longer doing that.
We are a monogamous couple. So like, I think I'm ambiamorous. So I am the type of relationship style that my partner is. Like, I'm pretty sure I would be a good polyamorous person. But I married my husband, and actually I was a forward-thinking 24-year-old. But I had said, hey, do you want to be able to sleep with other people somewhere down the line? And he was like, no. And I was like, oh yeah, neither. Neither.
Somebody I heard that on a TV show.
I thought I'd ask just in case you wanted it. I was like, obviously I don't. And then what's true is like, I probably would have wanted it. And that was a real thing I had to like kind of wrestle with, is like, there were times I was like, am I going to die? Have you never had sex with anyone else? Like, there were just things about some of my relationship to death that I was like, will I never experience these things? What will happen? And so now I've come a long way, because I've also learned how to feed myself. There are things I need to take responsibility for my own pleasure. And we've found something that works for us. But I'm in a monogamous relationship. So like, I don't have permission to go play with other people. But if I am in the capacity of a coach and I'm helping someone, then like, it's a little bit different. And there are very specific things, like I don't kiss people. I don't make out with people at these parties. But it was just really funny. So at one point I'm sitting on a couch, colleague sitting here. We're just like talking business. There was someone getting spanked here, like literally just like 1.5 feet away. There is a very rowdy, because there was not supposed to be any genital to genital sex. It was like oral sex, digit sex had been approved. And there was a couple who was just like really just right in the line that we were like, do we interrupt this? Do we let them? It's fine. Then someone else was on a table being attended to by like 4 people. And then another couple was playing over here. And I was just sitting here And I was like, yeah, man, like, and I wasn't a voyeur. Like, I'm not really a voyeur. I'll notice, but I don't sit and watch. And it was literally the feeling of liberation. Like, that's when I was like, oh. And it was so interesting. I've been a sex coach for several years now. And I was just sort of like, it's the first time it dawned on me. I was like, it's the freedom. It's the freedom. And it was like this. And I just turned to my friend, I was like, it's the freedom. And she was like, what? And I was like, I don't think I realized until this moment, the thing that I was seeking was freedom. And the fact that everyone in this space is completely safe, doing exactly what they want to do, empowered to change their dynamic or situation if they want, that everyone is doing exactly what they want to do right now. And it just happens to be, in most cases, oriented to sex. But you and I are just sitting here talking, having a mocktail, talking. And so, I don't know, it was just something about that's sort of what kink does for me, is it opens up this intense awareness of freedom, not just for me, but for other people.
Yes.
And so I was taking that to learn how to like teach people how to spank and impact play, fire play, which I'm not necessarily there yet. It'll be a while before I'm there. That's a real intense one.
Yeah.
But ropes, shibari, bondage, impact. And so I think there are a lot of couples who, and this is where I think I have a lot of lived experience of being with someone for a long time, having unexpressed wishes or desires, not knowing how to share them safely, how to receive somebody else's desires. So even just basic communication around that. And then how do you even step into it? Because it is really intimidating. And so it's been an interesting journey to try to like teach, there's a point where I have to teach my husband how to spank me because he doesn't want to do it. And spank, he doesn't really like that word, impact play, whatever, but it is the thing that pulls me into my body and I feel alive. And it's not necessarily erotic for me. What's really funny is I actually break out into laughgasms, which is just a wild.
Oh, fantastic.
I just start cackling. So it's just this and it's just this wild expression of emotion that comes out, and you do. And that's the thing about kink spaces is you get kind of high and kind of buzzy. And so you also need people who understand so that you can kind of come out of it safely and also have clear containers of what is and is not okay, what's on the table, what's not on the table. These are all things you kind of have to learn. And so I think that I'm a really good person for couples who are like trying to sheepishly explain, or even if they know. So I have someone I'm going to be working with here soon where they know they're pretty kinky and they know, but they're both subs. So they both need help being more dommy. And so there's an exchange we have to talk about and how they map it, because then they want to be subs at the same time. And I was like, hi guys, that's not going to work. So like, it's very difficult.
Nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, you can't be subs at the same time. So, just trying to figure some of that stuff out. But, language and normalizing that there's like, okay, you want to put on a dildo and peg him. Okay, sure.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Do it.
Yes.
Oh, but you're having trouble expressing this. Oh, and you need this. So then it's just funny that sometimes it's also kind of mundane where it's like, okay, this is where we like make eye contact, reflect the feelings, say what you heard, repeat it back, just some stuff. You're like, this is very basic communication coaching. Just happens to be about pegging and not about not taking out the trash.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, we're not really taught, hardly any of us are taught to communicate about any of that anyways. And then there is, like you're talking about the shame, the taboo,
shame,
and humiliation, and like I couldn't possibly, and I never have. And, and especially then like you introduce, porn and Reddit and like all sorts of things where people are now exposed to like, oh, I'm having really weird feelings about what I just saw. Like that kind of looked good, except I'm not supposed to do that. And I certainly don't want to see it again. And I'm going to watch it again right now. And so then what do I do about that? It's in my head now. I may or may not have a partner that I may or may not be able to have a conversation with this about. Like, oh my gosh, it goes so deep. And then I think people get obsessed.
Like they do. And it kind of creates a neural rut that they get stuck in, and which happens a lot with kink. And that's the thing, is that like, that's the only thing that's hard to convey to people, is that, hey, I can't tell you how long this is going to take, because some of this is determined by how strongly you're clinging to somebody else's beliefs, like your mom and dad's or your church's belief about this thing. And I can't tell you how long it will take for you to figure out what's true for you, because some people might be curious and then go, I'm not comfortable. I don't want. Okay, then take it off the table. We're not doing it.
That's right.
But it might take you months to figure that out, right? So sometimes couples come and they think, you just tell us this one thing. I'm like, ooh. Okay, it's going to take a little more time than that.
That's right. Here's my package.
Let's talk. It's going to take a little bit longer than one VIP session, especially when the other one's like, It's like, oh, do you have some judgment? Okay.
Well, I mean, we didn't get there overnight, right? Like,
No, not at all.
Decades of the messaging and the wounds and the belief systems and all of that. And so, like...
And it's also finding places where you feel safe enough. Because, like, not every kink community is meant for me. Like, there are certain parts of the aesthetic that's like, oh, that's too much for me, you know? And it's different. That's me as a participant, right? Me as a coach, really different. I feel really different. But when it's me participating, I have a really different aesthetic I need. It's a different game. And just allowing that reality to be true, that it's like, I can exist in one way when I'm in this role. And then when I'm in this other role, I really need it to be different. And that's okay. It doesn't make me weird or weak or
that's
shallow.
So insightful.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, oh no, that's just in order for me to show up if I'm, you know, if I want to be because I'm a switch. So I can dom and I can sub, and there's even differences between top and bottom versus dom and sub. But you know, I'm a switch, and I really want that, and that's like an interesting place that we're navigating now, where like trying to convey to my husband, who these things have never occurred to him before, what it is for him to dom me, you know, and how far. It's a lot to ask of someone. It is a lot, and so
you're kind of breaking his brain apart and trying to remodel the pieces, right?
Yeah, and then like what we have that works for us is we're both former performers, so that actually helps. And stepping into characters, it's helpful. And I use personas and things to help people find new pieces of themselves. So there are lots of safe ways to do it, and it just takes time and creativity, which I think is like that's actually the other thing. It's like the freedom,
so much fun,
really fun.
Yeah,
really fun.
I've been asked to do some role play stuff.
Yes,
and I'm like, I feel like I will just devolve into giggles, and I'm not sure.
Are giggles off the table? Are they not allowed? Because some people, okay.
I love giggles.
No, but I mean, like for the person, yeah, it can. But also sometimes, and that's the other things I think with like role playing, it's so hard, especially when you're asking someone to be different and they're not used to like kind of performing in that way. I am a playful person, so I try to coach people into like having room for that. It's like, hi, yes, is this Cassandra and, you know, Igor, fine, that's who's here. But also this is Cari and whoever, right. You know what I mean? Where it's like, so they're both here in the room. So if Cassandra is gonna like giggle let her giggle for a minute, and then we'll come back, you know, but you have to like give permission, because some people feel like there's a perfectionism that comes out that exists in our culture. And so then it feels like you can't get it wrong. And then if it breaks and someone thinks, oh, she's not taking it seriously, then they go into a shame. There's just all this stuff that it can kick off. So having someone be like, hey, no, guys, this is like, we got to work into this. It's going to come, but you got to like go just a little bit at a time to go with the nervous system. And some people need it super scripted. Some people need a little bit of room to play. And that's all science and nuance on keeping it both interesting, but also safe for everybody, so that it's really clear what we are and what we are not doing in this scene or this situation. And how we're playing.
Safety is so huge. Even just like feeling unsafe about saying the words.
Totally.
Right? That's where it all begins.
Well, and even expressing, because it's like naming acts, how we say it, feeling sexy. Feeling sexy is a very hard feeling for a lot of people. And it feels like something they're putting on. And so trying to like, actually help people find a natural path to their sensuality so they actually feel vibrant and alive. In addition to, like, how do you turn it on and like allow it to be a little bit of a character? How do you just see what it feels like? You try it on, you take it off, you can set it down if it doesn't work, but just like freeing it up a little bit. So it's not like, you know, it has to be perfect or it has to be an Oscar-winning performance. It's like, and I don't know, I think sex is actually more fun when it's awkward and when there's like weird laughs and stuff. It's way more fun.
Yes, that is my favorite actually.
But I think sometimes, especially if you're kind of on the dating scene or whatever, there's like this thing, you're supposed to have some feminine mystique and be very smooth and like have the sexy underwear and like there's a whole thing. And it's like, I don't know, y'all, that's not real. Like, I mean, sure, we can write that scene, but that's not how it is most of the time.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I always blame it on the fact that I dated hardly not at all in my teens.
Yep.
And so I blame liking the awkward and being attracted to like the fumbling and the giggling and the missteps and all of that, to the fact that I didn't get enough of it as, you know, in my teenage years. And so now in my 50s, I want it to be all like weird and like silly.
That. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it takes some of the stress and the strain and the shame out of it and makes it fun. Yeah. And that's what I'm after.
Yeah, I love that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have that. I wish I'd slept with more people now. Like, I definitely would have, but I just had my own hangups. I did have some sex, and the sex that I had at a young age was actually pretty phenomenal. So I lucked out there that like some of my first partners were great. So I had a lot of good sex. But I do wish I'd slept with more people, but I love you. That's how it happens.
You heard it here. Exactly. You heard it here. So, if you have permission, you should probably have more sex with more people.
Have more sex. Go do it. Do it safely.
Right. Do it safely. Yes. There's all sorts of ways to contain that and make it a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
This has been a blast. I think we're going to have to like circle back to some more kink stuff.
Oh, I would love to. And I can bring some stuff in. We can even I don't know. There's lots of stuff we could do.
Oh yeah.
Or talk about personalities or how to like model it or how to have a little more fun.
I think that would be great.
I'd love to.
Because I don't really have many of those toys. We should share.
I have some. Yeah. Yeah. I have my little Mary Poppins bag that it's quite compact, but it
I love it.
It explodes. So
Hermione's bag. Look,
yes.
look
And actually,
what I
have new toys coming. I have a long leather flogger coming. This guy just sold his business, and I have a beaded flogger that I love, and he's the only one who makes them this way, and he closed his business down. So I already have one, but I bought another one. So I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to get this again.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited. So yeah, I have some new toys coming, so we can.
Okay.
And a hockey puck paddle. I think it's just the shape, but it seems like it's tire tread. So we'll see. I'm interested how stingy and how like impacty it is, or if it leaves an imprint. So
that's fun. People like that.
People do like an imprint. That's true. Yeah, but I'm more excited. It's because it's an oiled leather flogger. My other flogger is suede. It's very thuddy, which is nice. But this one's longer and I think a little snappier. So. So things you're looking for: thuddy, snappy. What do you want in your flogger?
Oh my God.
We can talk about floggers.
Definitely not snappy. I like thuddy.
Thuddy. Oh yeah. Okay.
We'll get something on the calendar.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Right on.
Thanks for having me.
Oh my God, it was so much fun.